So, once again, my name is Shemun Daniel Omashola, and here I want to explain to you some of the basics of HTML, the boilerplates, and how you can connect your CSS file to your HTML file. So, right here, what we have is our simple HTML template. But let me say, okay, yeah, our simple HTML template. So here, this is the document type declaration, and this here is the HTML itself, the HTML tag, the opening and closing tag, and this is the head. The head contains the data about the web page. Like you can see this title, which is Shemun website. If I'm to run this now, you will see on the browser head, what you see is Shemun's website. Look at it here, Shemun's website at the top here. So Shemun website, that's the title. Now this is how we import our scripts. We put the source, and then what happens is when you put it like this, the script loads first before the page loads. So you can also put this script at the bottom of the body tag, also after your last element, or at the top. Depends on how you want your page to load. If you want your page to load before you make any changes, like before your code runs, then you have to put it at the bottom, like here. Now, so if I save and play, all right, so now after that we have the body, the main body. This is where the page is, the whole page is, the whole HTML page. So this is where most of your website goes into. Most details of your website, they go into the body tag. And inside the body, that where we start having our header, the h1, our p tags also. Now, connecting our CSS, we use what we call the link tag inside the head tag. Now inside the head, we are trying to connect our CSS file that we'll be using for this page. Now we put a link, we put a relationship style sheet href. Then this href now tells us the location, so we can put the name. If we put the name here, just the name of the file and the extension, that's index.css, it means we are telling this file that the file we are looking for is on the same folder where it is. Like the CSS file is in the same folder where it is, so we just tell it, okay, this is where it is. So it is in the same folder, just access that file. And this is the type of the file. It's a text CSS file. Now let me open the CSS file here. Since we've connected it here, look at it here. I created in CSS, we access files through their tag name. We can access them through tag name, and we can access them through class names. Like this is .h1 now, it's a class here now, but I could decide to, if I remove this h1 from this class now, this style that we have applied to it, h1, which is background yellow, color black, and padding and border radius to make it rounded, it will no longer be applied to that h1, to this h1 tag, which is Shemun Daniel Omashola. Why? Because I have removed the class selector, which tells it to okay, yeah, let me save here. Yeah, I also have to save here too. Okay, I've removed the class selector from it, which tells it that okay, this is the tag that you should apply the style to. Now I could also still get this shown down here by calling h1 directly. I could just say okay, change the h1 tag, and if I do that, our style will be applied back. But note that if I do this, it will affect every h1 element. Like if I come down here now and I type to create an h1 element and say test, all right, and I save, then I run, you see it applies it to it. So it will apply to all h1 elements. But if I decide to say okay, this is h1 and I give it a class, or let me give it another name. Let's say name, a class of name, and I save, and then I come here and I change here to when we are targeting classes in HTML, we use dot, then name. So if I do this now and I save, it will know that okay, it is accessing this. Why is it that? Because this h1 has a class property, so it's that class property that we are accessing with that dot. Why if it's an ID property, ID is used for when you want that only one element. Why class, you know that you may create other elements like it, but you don't want it to affect all elements, you just want some elements that you give this class property. So we'll use class. So now that I've changed the class to name, I can just come here and I've changed here to the dot name. Now this style will be applied to that class. Let me save this one too, and if I run it now, it will be applied to just that. Now it didn't apply to this other one under, even though they are both h1. Now that is class. Now ID, if you look here, you see ID, thanks, and here we have an ID. Now we access IDs using the pound symbol, this hash here, the pound symbol. Now this tells it that okay, look for which element has an ID that is equals to thanks. That's why it is pound thanks, and pound thanks give it a font size that is smaller and a color of orange. So if I run it now, you see it's small and it's orange. This is it right here. That's it there. It's smaller and it's orange in color. So if I change it to something else now, it will no longer be applied. If I remove that, it will no longer be applied. And you see the thanks is no longer small and orange in color anymore. But I could decide to bring back our thanks. And now, yeah, and now our thanks is back with its original design. So then we also have our details, which is the normal p tag. Now this p tag, I can still change that and just say okay, I want to access the p tag, I want all p tags to be like this. And if I do that, you see it gave it all p tags. We're giving that style. Now you see the thanks also inherited that. This is what we call inherit. It inherited the property because it is also a p tag, but it also has its own style, which is the font size and orange color, but its color supersedes the white color of the p tag because it's specific to its own thanks because of the ID that is there. So it's hierarchy, but this is an HTML element, this p without any dot or without any pound symbol. So that is some of the basic ways we connect our CSS file and our HTML file and apply some styles, simple styles to it. So let me save. And also to connect our JavaScript file, if you notice I put a console.log and also an alert. The alert is what pops up. So the source file for that is here. Look at it. Script source index.js. I put index.js because it's in the same folder, index.js, with the HTML file. So I don't need to put any slash. This is when I say slash, this is what I mean. So if, for example, it was in another folder, I would have to do slash. I will have to do slash, then the name of the folder, and then before I do that, but since this is just here with us here, we can also do it like this, and it should work like this also. It should work. Let me save. Yeah, and it works like this too. This also tells it that it's in the same folder, but for short we can just write it like this and it will know that it's in the same folder also. So thank you, that's it for now.